Hey guys, check it out. You're watching Jonathan Clarke on YouTube. Oh no! Your sweet 16th birthday only happens once in a lifetime, so because it only happens once in a lifetime for every single person who's ever lived, I think that Freya Skye's sweet 16th birthday should be one that she will never ever forget, and that's precisely what I'm here to do, is to celebrate her birthday with each and every one of you. Guys, thank you so much for all the love and support you've shown this YouTube channel. When I was 16 years old, I was playing PlayStation 2, Grand Theft Auto, Crash Bandicoot, Metal Gear Solid 2, Thinks and the Cursed Mummy, video games that you probably are too young to remember, but that's what I was doing celebrating my 16th birthday. And now Freya Skye, over 25 years later, I hope is having the most wonderful birthday of all time, because she is one of the biggest stars in the world right now, and in the conversation to become the next Taylor Swift or Ariana Grande. I will forever believe that. I will forever support Freya Skye with more opportunities in life, because I think that more opportunities are going to come her way, because Zombies 4: Dawn of the Vampires may be the only movie to her credit right now on her resume, but that doesn't mean that more opportunities won't befall Freya Skye. And I really believe that because of the love and support that we have shown Freya Skye, a passion that has brought us all together and we've become the best of friends because of, I think that Freya Skye has a very promising future, and one that I'm incredibly excited to be a part of. Because as I just said, your sweet 16 only happens once for every lifetime. So because it only happens once for every lifetime, I think it should be a celebration that you never ever forget. Now I know that I never had the opportunity to celebrate the New Orleans Mardi Gras during my 16th birthday, or have a big celebration. But when I was 16 years old, I didn't really know if I was coming or going. I didn't know what career path I wanted to choose. I was just hosting a radio show out of my parents' basement. There was no YouTube. YouTube premiered on April 23rd, 2005. And the way that you could upload videos on YouTube really wasn't meeting my criteria. So I kind of waited for YouTube to come up with more enhancements and more developments. And then by 2009, I launched a YouTube channel and I started uploading videos about my passion for professional wrestling and Disney. Because many of you will remember me for being a professional wrestling podcast host and being on virtually every professional wrestling podcast that you could think of, from the professionals to the indie scene. And then eventually I broke away from that and got the opportunity to talk about Disney on YouTube after YouTube had seen so many enhancements and developments over the years. It's been 20 years since YouTube premiered, and now finally I get to showcase my passion for Disney and all things Nickelodeon with each and every one of you. And this passion that I've discovered for Descendants and Zombies has been something I think I've been waiting on to happen for me for my entire life, because I really do believe that the futures of people like Freya Skye and Kylie are futures to be excited about, and I'm just excited to be a part of this with each and every one of you. Because regardless of how we choose to review the futures of Freya Skye and Kylie, they are going to be futures that we are all going to be part of history. So because we're all going to be a part of history, I think it's a moment in time that we should never ever forget. And I think that Freya Skye is doing a fabulous job touching your hearts with her music, with her acting. It is absolutely incredible how Freya Skye is touching the hearts of so many millions of people. The numbers that Freya Skye is putting up on social media are absolutely outstanding and unparalleled to anything that I've ever encountered in my lifetime. I don't even think Taylor Swift was putting up numbers on social accounts like Freya Skye is now. Over almost 200,000 people have subscribed to her YouTube channel in under just 6 months. And millions of people are downloading her EP off of FreyaSkye.com and buying her merch. I gotta put this out there, the Freya Skye hoodies look absolutely fabulous. You know, if I had a hoodie like Freya Skye did, I tried to make my own hoodie years ago, but it never really got off the ground. But if I had my own hoodie like Freya Skye did, I would be more than proud to wear my own hoodie with my own name on it, because they are absolutely beautiful. And everything happening over there on FreyaSkye.com, the web developers have every reason to be proud of themselves, because they are promoting Freya Skye in such a fabulous way, and she too is promoting all of her work in such a dedicated passion and a dedicated way. I really believe that Freya Skye is going to be something special. I agree with Meg Donnelly's assumption on the future of Freya Skye. She's incredibly excited to be a part of Freya Skye's future moving forward, and so am I. Because I think this story between Victor and Nova is a story that has so many chapters left to be written, so many chapters left to be explored, so many different conflicts that could be presented because of how the Daywalkers and the Nightwalkers now will take exception to their relationship, which is what this story will be developed from. And so because this story is going to present a lot of confliction and a lot of twists and turns in the plot, I think there's never been a more exciting time to be a fan of the Zombies franchise. And there are going to be more people than ever before fall in love with the Zombies franchise now because of Malachi Burton and Freya Skye. I remember that night that Malachi Burton and Freya Skye shared the stage singing that duet for Rewrite the Stars, which was one of my favorite songs off the Zombies 4 soundtrack, because that song really allowed me to put my life into perspective of how I wanted to spend the rest of my life with somebody that I thought I was going to love for forever and always. That happened to me many times in my lifetime, and I want to say thank you to the writers and producers of Zombies 4 Down of the Vampires for putting that song on the score, because that song on the score really touched my heart in so many unbelievable ways. That's one duet that I've listened to over 10,000 times on various YouTube channels that have uploaded it, because it's a beautiful song. And it really touches your heart in so many ways. And if it doesn't touch your heart, it will think about touching your heart. So I think everybody should take into consideration at least listening to this song once. You know, I've seen a lot of reaction videos for that duet. I have to say this. And a lot of people show, you know, the reaction for the music video, but they don't show the appreciation or understanding of what the music video truly means. Nobody ever tells you why that specific song jumps out at them from the Zombies 4 Down in the Vampire soundtrack. So for me, that song, I'll do one right by you and say that song really touched my heart because it allowed me to think about all the people that were in my life, came and went out of my life, that I thought I was going to spend the rest of my life with. And I think that we all dream of getting to a point too in our own lives, because I really do believe there is a special somebody or someone for everybody in this lifetime, regardless of how long it takes you to find that person, because that's exactly what happened for Victor and Nova. You know, our legacies are written in the stars, so if we pay that much more close attention to the stars every single night that they show up in the sky from out of nowhere, you probably can detail what your legacy has in store for you, because each and every one of our futures are going to be miraculous. I'm just excited for your futures, and I'm excited for the futures of these stars of the Descendants and Zombies franchises, because I know how it goes. They're receiving a lot of criticism because people can't make sense of the Descendants and Zombies franchises. I really don't know if they want to make sense of the Descendants and Zombies franchise. I really don't know if it's just because they don't want to make sense of the Zombies franchise or they just can't. But I think the Descendants and Zombies franchise is something that has forever and always held a special place in the hearts of millions of people. So because the fans are showing the most appreciation and dedication to these stars, you guys deserve to be commended for that, because you're putting Descendants and Zombies on a pedestal that I believe it's never going to come down off of. Because when you see Clarke and and Freya Skye so appreciative of being lost in every moment that they get to share with each and every one of you, that is exactly what I want to see happen. Because I love seeing them have fun, and I love having fun on this YouTube channel talking about Descendants and Zombies in the way that it's meant to be talked about for years. Because from the very first moment that Descendants and Zombies gave us these miraculous premieres and showed up from out of nowhere and introduced us to a cast that was going to carry us into the future of the Disney franchise, I think that everybody just started criticizing it because they didn't want to make sense of it. I didn't know if it was because they couldn't make sense of it or they just didn't want to make sense of it, but this is the point that we're at. We're seeing stars like Clarke and Freya Skye take the world by storm, and that is exactly what I wanted to have happen for them, because I don't think they deserve to cry on TikTok videos or platforms like YouTube. All across this platform, people are uploading videos with criticism or uploading videos of Clarke and crying because they have an opinion to give about Clarke and crying, because Clarke is supposed to be this fearless girl who isn't supposed to be like any of us. The reality of life is Clarke cries just like you do, or cries just like I do, because I will admit to each and every one of you, I've cried a fair share of times in my lifetime because I couldn't make sense of my own life. It's a natural human reaction. So because Clarke is human and she's far from unbreakable, she's just letting you know that she feels just like each and every one of you do and goes through the same kind of thing. Maybe not in the same way that we're going through it, but she's going through the same kind of thing because God gave her a voice, which I believe that if Clarke or Freya Skye has, they have all authority to use that voice and should feel openly and freely to do this with an open heart and an open mind and state how they feel. Because Clarke is not a Donald Trump supporter, or Freya Skye feels the way she does about her music, or eating a plain cheeseburger at McDonald's, preferring board games over video games. We should support her in that, because it got me to thinking about all the times that I grew up playing board games with some of my best friends, Monopoly, Scrabble, Travel, 13 Dead End Drive, which was one of my all-time favorite board games. It brought back a lot of fond memories and triggered those memories for me from out of nowhere that I haven't talked about some of these memories in over 30 years. That's one of the beautiful things about Descendants of Zombies. We're getting to know these stars. They've triggered a lot of memories for us, and they've triggered a lot of memories for me that I've had to share with each and every one of you for the first time in 30 years. When I first heard about Malia Baker being a part of the reboot of Nickelodeon's Are You Afraid of the Dark back in 2022 for Curse of the Shadows, it brought me back to being a fan of the original Are You Afraid of the Dark produced by DJ McHale. And that was on October 31st, 1990. I remember sitting in front of my TV, being absolutely terrified over the Tale of the Phantom Cab, which was the initial premiere pilot episode of Are You Afraid of the Dark on October 31st, 1990. I believe this year it was over 35 years ago since the Are You Afraid of the Dark original series premiered. And since the premiere of Are You Afraid of the Dark, we've heard so many tales told by the Midnight Society. But I think that Malia Baker being a part of this also triggered memories. And whatever Kylie Cantrell is a part of triggers memories. Because you think about how you were a fan of Alice in Wonderland, the original classic. Because if there was one guy who had a greater appreciation for the Alice in Wonderland original classic, it was this guy. I played every video game that had Alice in Wonderland characters involved with it. There's actually a video game released on PlayStation 3, which many of you are probably too young to remember or know what I'm talking about, but it's called Alice Return to Madness. And what it is, it's based off Alice in Wonderland characters with a unique twist on the story. There's a lot of action scenes, there's a lot of battling, and I think you fight the Queen of Hearts at the end of the video game. I have it. If I find it in my collection, I will show it to you guys. But there have been so many adaptations of Alice in Wonderland told, which should give you a greater appreciation for the tale of Alice in Wonderland, because there are a total of 4 books in this series. So because the second movie now will focus on elements from Alice in Wonderland's second tale, there are two additional tales that are included in that series, which could lead to 4 movies being produced as a part of the Rise of Red franchise, which is what I'm looking forward to and hoping they do. This is why I would love to be the writer and producer of the Descendants franchise, because I think the Descendants franchise has a lot more characters that could be offered to the franchise, such as Alice. I've often wondered and put the call out for Alice in Wonderland, wondering where she is. Shout out to you, Alice, because I think that because of Alice's curiosity, that's what made her such a beautiful character. And I think that if you were going to give Ruby Rose Turner any role in the Descendants franchise whatsoever, she did a fabulous job as Bridget, but you should have gave her the role of being Alice because of Ruby Rose Turner's curiosity. I say this because Ruby has an appreciation for life. And I've seen this curiosity with Ruby for forever. She's just wanted to broaden her horizons. She's wanted to introduce you to who she was as a person, because with Ruby, what you see is what you get. And I think a lot of people try to kayfabe whatever they have going on in their own lives because of what the label or the industry wants them to live up to a certain standard, which implies a lot of pressure on their shoulders. But with Ruby, always and forever, what you see is what you get. So I think that if you weren't going to put her as a part of the Descendants franchise and cast her as Bridget, the young Queen of Hearts, she could have easily gotten away with being Alice, because I think that you just can't have Alice in Wonderland characters represented in the Descendants franchise without Alice herself being involved with this franchise. And there are so many forgotten Disney characters that have yet to see their introduction into the Descendants franchise, which makes this a far more unpredictable time than ever given credit for to be a fan of Descendants and Zombies. Because we are seeing the rapid-fire ascension of people like Freya, Skye, who will forever be in the conversation to be the next Taylor Swift. This December, Taylor Swift will have her latest doc series based off the Eras Tour's success on Disney Plus premiere. I think that 20 years from now, we'll see a doc series based on Freya, Skye, and Kylie Cantrell because of the Descendants. Here's an idea for Disney Plus to follow through with. Do a doc series on Descendants and have it be like a 5-part miniseries and see how many millions of viewers you have that tune into it. Because I really believe that if you had a doc series on Descendants, I think the revenue for Disney Plus and more subscriptions will be handed out than ever before. I think that Disney Plus would exceed the expectations of everybody if they came up with a 5-part miniseries on Descendants, because I think that more people need to see a greater appreciation or have a greater appreciation for these franchises, all the characters, all the detail, the greater appreciation for the villains that were showcased. I think there's way too much focus on Disney Plus right now on the megastars like Taylor Swift and Ariana Grande. You know, Ariana Grande is somebody who has never had anything to do with Disney ever before, and she has docs on Disney Plus right now. So too does Taylor Swift. You know, where has Taylor Swift been for the last 30 years with Disney? The only thing Taylor Swift's ever done for Disney are a few doc series and an appearance for the Hannah Montana movie or something having to do with the Jonas Brothers. I think that, so that's really all you've got to do to be a part or to contribute to Disney is just be a part of a doc series, one doc series. That's all you've got to do. I think that you have so many people who have been dedicated to Disney for forever, really a lifetime, like Kylie Cantrell, who have dreamed of being a part of Disney that deserve more of an opportunity, but they're always being overshadowed by Taylor Swift's contributions, because Taylor Swift's net worth right now is somewhere up there with $1.5 billion in revenue. So because she's somewhere up there with $1.5 billion in revenue, that's why she's getting all the attention and all these doc series. But if you had one doc series come out on Disney Plus right now that would generate a lot of attention and garner a lot of reputation, it would have to be Descendants doc series, because you could have behind the scenes footage from the Worlds Collide tour, the development of the franchise, even just the doc series on the Worlds Collide tour is what Disney Plus fans right now are probably crying out for. Because I think there's way too much emphasis on, where Taylor Swift is going from here. There was a story leaked online a couple of days ago about how Taylor Swift now is saying she's overtired from the Eras Tour and all this extensive touring, and she kind of wants to take a backseat to everything else happening. And I really appreciate that, because that will give more stars an opportunity to shine more than ever before, and it will give me an opportunity to talk with the stars who deserve the spotlight. Because right now, people like Freya, Skye, and Clarke and Sherelle will forever deserve the spotlight, and never enough time in the spotlight can be given to them or allocated. Because with the time they are allocated in the spotlight, they seem to be having so much fun, and they seem to be so appreciative of every moment they have to share with each and every one of you. And that's what stands out to me the most about someone like Freya Skye, is just how appreciative they are of every moment they get to spend with each and every one of us. The moments that I've spent with each and every one of you as a fan of Descendants of Zombies are moments that I will never ever forget, and I will forever and always cherish. Talking to you about everything happening in my day that relate to Descendants of Zombies, how I prepare myself for an inevitable zombie apocalypse, which could happen at any given moment, how I live in a soda plantation, near a soda plantation and a chemical plant. I tell you these stories because how I think my girlfriend may be a vampire. I tell you these stories because it puts smiles on your face, because you know that the guy hosting the show is probably going through something far worse than what you're going through right now. But what I want to succeed with doing with these videos is just put a smile on your face, so that you know the guy hosting the show knows everything there is to know about Descendants of Zombies. And yes, I know there are always something new to learn about Descendants of Zombies. I, for one, would love to see Descendants of Zombies turned into a TV series with a weekly episode airing on Disney Plus, along with a doc series about the Worlds Collide Tour, some behind-the-scenes footage from the collaboration of the movies, interviews that have never been seen before or aired with your favorite Descendants of Zombies stars. This is why you guys got to get me in as part of the cast of Descendants of Zombies, or the writer and producer, so I can bring this to life with meaning. Now, I'm not saying that people like Kenny Ortega and Kimmy Gatewood and Jennifer Fang are not going to bring this to life for the foreseeable future, because they have. But I think that there are people that could come in as the writers and producers, such as yours truly, who have a greater appreciation for fairy tale characters and their lore. Because I've studied fairy tales all of my life, so I have a greater appreciation for Beauty and the Beast. I have a greater appreciation for The Little Mermaid and Hercules. I'm actually just playing this video game right now. I'm halfway through it. It's called The Wolf Among Us on PlayStation 4, and it's a really in-depth look at fairy tale characters and their appreciation and what they've offered to fairy tales for hundreds of years. So you have a version of Beauty and the Beast portrayed in it. Of course, you have the story between Beast and Belle being played out. You have characters from The Wizard of Oz in there. You have characters from Alice in Wonderland in the video game. I just spoke on a video game series that was inspired by Alice in Wonderland that has nothing to do with Disney. So, point being, there's an extreme rarity of fairy tale lore and fairy tale characters. There's a greater appreciation to showcase when you're talking about fairy tale characters, and with a total of 4 books in the Alice in Wonderland series, up to 4 movies could be produced. Now, I don't know how the writers and producers feel about the direction of Descendants and if 4 movies are really necessary, but I think that 4 movies would have this last longer and showcase it for the true value and the true worth of these stars, because we have beautiful friendships, which means there's an undeniable amount of chemistry. The overflowing of chemistry between, say, Ruby and Leah and Kylie was outstanding. I love using photos of the 3 of them together as thumbnails on this YouTube channel. Just yesterday I celebrated the birthday of Ruby Rose Turner, and I got a huge response. People have been subscribing to this YouTube channel. There was a new subscriber this morning. By the way, shout out to you. Thank you so much, whoever you are, wherever you are. Thank you so much, and just know I appreciate you for subscribing. And you could be the next person to subscribe on this incredible journey that you girls have had me on for forever. I've had the honor of talking about Descendants of Zombies every day for the rest of my life. And one thing you notice about these videos are I do reaction videos, but I don't do reaction videos as often as what more people do, because they love to sit in front of their microphone and they love to critique Descendants of Zombies because they've never watched Descendants of Zombies before. So because they've never watched Descendants of Zombies before, they don't have a greater appreciation for the franchise and what it's meant to millions of people. The reality of being a fan of Descendants of Zombies is you grew up with these franchises. Like I grew up with High School Musical, Hannah Montana, Phineas and Ferb, Kim Possible, which was an animated TV series that ended long before its time. I don't know really how I felt about the live-action Kim Possible movie by 2019 because it took them years to follow through with that, and there could have been a sequel that never fell through with. But I remember being a fan of shows like Kim Possible, Gargoyles, which was another show that I was a huge fan of. I had all the Gargoyles merchandise. There were 4 or 5 action figures that you could get, but I remember the extensive detail of it. So I can only imagine how excited you guys are about the 10th anniversary dolls of Descendants and the original dolls that you've collected. I'm here to tell you guys I support that. I think that's cool. I love looking at photos of the original dolls, the new merchandise for the Worlds Collide Tour, which sold millions of copies and generated millions of dollars of revenue. This is exactly what I wanted to have happen for Descendants, which is why I couldn't be more proud to be a fan of Descendants and Zombies. Because when you can put people like Ruby Rose Turner, Kylie Cantrell, Freya, Skye on stage performing as your favorite Descendants characters, and they can touch your hearts in so many emphatic and unimaginable ways, that's what makes this all worth it for me. Because I know that you're a fan of everything Disney and Nickelodeon. You're a fan of perhaps past moments in Disney history, current moments in Disney history. There's something here on this YouTube channel for everybody who was a fan of Disney. And Descendants and Zombies was that niche that exploded this YouTube channel in overwhelming popularity in so many emphatic ways that I will never ever forget the profound impact that Descendants and Zombies left on my heart. It was an impression, an everlasting impression that I will never ever forget. And that's why I've been uploading videos about Freya, Skye, and Ruby ever since midnight last night, because their birthdays happened back to back. And I know a year from now, when we look back on the celebration of Ruby Rose Turner and Kylie Cantrell's, Freya Skye's birthday in 2025, it'll be something special for everybody who also commemorated it, because I do know that fans were commemorating the birthdays of Ruby Rose Turner and Freya Skye all throughout yesterday. And one thing I noticed about the people who were commemorating the birthday celebrations were they were the die-hard fans. They were the people who had fallen in love with Freya Skye and Kylie Cantrell and Ruby Rose Turner long before many of us ever knew who they were. And that's why I say thank you so much to everybody who remembered the birthdays of Ruby Rose Turner and Freya Skye when they did, because of your contributions for your fan sites and your fan art, more people are falling in love with Freya Skye and Ruby Rose Turner and getting to know who they are, which is something I'm incredibly excited about for the foreseeable future, because Descendants 5 Wicked Wonderland may be a year away. But even though it's a year away, we still have a lot of conversation to get to. It will give me an opportunity to upload more Descendants and Zombies videos and show the appreciation and the value and the true worth and showcase it for what these franchises have truly meant to each and every one of our hearts. I know I tell you a lot of crazy stories that relate and tie into Descendants and Zombies, but I do it to separate these videos from every other commentator or so-called journalist on YouTube that just don't seem to have the appreciation for Descendants and Zombies like I do. But trust in me, guys, and I will never let you down, nor will I ever go away, because I just want to be here talking about Descendants and Zombies with each and every one of you. I don't care if I'm on my roof replacing my shingles. If I fall off my roof because I get a text because somebody subscribed to my YouTube channel, that's cool, because it happened and I did it all for Descendants and Zombies. Come to think of it, I do have to replace the shingles on my roof and install a new helipad in case the Descendants and Zombies cast see these videos and want to shoot Descendants and Zombies into my backyard, because the scenery on this island where I live is incredibly beautiful. So I've got to get to that, replace the shingles on my roof, install a helipad, which I've been teasing I was going to set up on the rooftop, because Descendant stars could arrive in a helicopter at any given moment, because there are hundreds of my videos on YouTube, and my face is showing up after you click on virtually 500 different thumbnails. And I'm the most popular Descendants and Zombies YouTube channel in the world right now because of each and every one of you, not because I just started uploading Descendants and Zombies videos at random. Thank you guys so much from my heart to yours. I love you guys so much, man. We will have one more video hopefully by sunset tonight. I've uploaded already 4 videos since midnight last night, so there's one more to come. I hope you will join me for it as we talk more about the celebration of Freya Skye's sweet 16th birthday, because it only happens once for every single one of us, so it should be a time in her life that she will never ever forget. And we will have the grand finale of that happening tonight on this YouTube channel. So if you're here, I would love for you to join me. I'm cordially inviting you to that celebration and that momentous time in our history of being fans of Descendants and Zombies, because life really is sweeter when all of us are. Stay calm and zombie on, guys, into the foreseeable future, because it's going to be a good one.